From Nashville's WSM Radio, the original home of the Grand Ole Opry, this is a Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast.
Hey, it's Charlie Matos, and in this episode of our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast, we welcome 4Runner in studio. The guys with their first new music in almost 2 decades. The album's called Back Runnin'. 4Runner on Coffee, Country, and Cody.
A very famous country music personality who will remain nameless, Kelly Sutton, Charlie Matos, once said to me, I knew the things to do to get into this business. How on earth do you get out? What do you have to do to get out?
That's a good one.
Welcome, 4Runner, back to the scene where we were in 1994 and 95 when I got to town, and you guys were all over the radio with a song called Cain's Blood.
Would you like to hear a little bit of that?
Well, yeah.
Half of my faith, half of my blood is Cain's blood. Half of my blood is Abel's. One eye looks to heaven. One eye looks for trouble.
Michael Johnson wrote that, did he?
And Jack Sundrud, yes.
A Poco.
Yes.
How about that?
Couple of stars. Real stars.
I remember, I guess the first time I heard it was Michael doing it somewhere along the way, and then you guys had to hit with it. Was that 95?
It was, we found the song in 94 and recorded it as part of a developmental deal for the record label, and they grabbed us up based on, I think, that song and another song that's on this album called House at the End of the Road.
And you've got new music, which we'll talk about in a minute, but Larry Shell was instrumental.
Yes.
Murder on Music Row.
That's right.
He and the Mighty Chord, Larry Cordell, in discovering you guys and getting the Mercury deal, right?
Yes.
And then Buddy Cannon produced you?
He did. Actually, he and Larry both.
Man, it was probably 6 months to a year prior to getting our deal. I was at Larry's office probably 3 days a week. Me and the guy that started this group originally, and we were listening to songs day in and day out, and just got every week that went by, we were more fired up, you know. So Larry was very instrumental in taking this thing to the label.
Craig Morris.
Yes, sir.
Next generation, Sam Morris back there behind you.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And, of course, Lee Hilliard and Jim Chapman. Jim, we see over there filling in on the bass side. Rod Fletcher. Note to Rod Fletcher, take a night off. The man would like
Come on, Rod, call me, dude. Call me.
like a chance to come back. It's always great to see you over there, though, when you get a chance to fill in.
You know, I call backstage at the Opry the happiest place on earth. It is a great place to be. Great place.
Do you remember the first time that you got the call?
Well, I've been filling in out there for I even filled in out there when Carol Lee was there. And, man, I mean, just every time you go, it's like awesome. It's just, you know the feeling. You're there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Event. Yeah. And Carol Lee, I don't know if we can do this on the radio, but
Sure.
she'd throw me the chords right between her cleavage. Right here. Sing that. I'm going, wow, what a great game.
So you had to. I'm not going to
Well,
talk.
that's
No
only
wonder you kept going back. They didn't have to pay you. He didn't even take the money they were giving him. He's like, I'll do this one for free.
Oh, man.
I've
only
worked
thing-
with Carol Lee, Jim. She never did that for me.
the only thing would top that were Harold Hensley and Carol Lee Cooper together doing Go Gaga for Goo Goo's commercial. And Harold's mischievous little way of leading Carol Lee into talking about Goo Goo's.
What? Oh,
There was
I don't think I heard that one.
big live radio fun, I'm telling you.
I feel like I'm back in talk radio. I need my 7-second delay button here. So, hey, I'm curious though. When Cain's Blood really took off, and that mid 1995, I'm guessing. But who was the first band you guys go out on tour with? Because there were so many big tours.
Actually, Boy Howdy. Remember that?
Oh,
band?
yeah, absolutely.
Jeffrey
Steel?
Steele.
Man, they
Jeffrey
threw us
Steele.
out there on a Jim Beam tour. We had fun.
And
We
that's
sure
gonna be the end
did.
of that story. Actually, what happened was we did that tour and we finished out in the Southwest just before we did the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. So we were out in the desert for about a month, and we got to Leno's show, and we were all like, We had the desert throat going.
No.
But we broke through it, though.
Yeah,
thankfully.
those were fun days. Fun days.
Now, let's talk about this next generation behind you over here. Sam Morris, you never had a shot at doing anything else? Is that it?
Oh, man. Man, no, I mean, like, first and foremost, like, I grew up, like, a 4Runner fan. So, like, the opportunity to be here is, like, surreal. You know, I was in my mom's lap watching them on stage, you know, in 1995, 96. So they were just like my heroes up there, not just because my dad was in it. I just loved the sound. There's just nothing like it, that 4-part harmony. So, yeah, I'm just thrilled for the opportunity. It's a huge blessing for me.
And Jim, the Stephen Curtis Chapman connection with Jim Chapman is that you are Mary Beth's brother, correct?
Right. That's often mistaken that I am Steve's brother, but in fact, he married my little sister.
And how many siblings?
We have 3. I'm the oldest. Mary Beth's the youngest. We have a middle child that's in Ohio, and we don't mention her name. She's as sweet as can be, and she's up there. You know, mom and dad are getting older, so she's got her hands full with them. And you guys be in prayer for Steve. You know, he's going to sing at the funeral Wednesday.
Yeah,
they were real close friends with the headmistress over there at Covenant, and what a you guys know what a tough spot, you know, and that hits really close to his family, which means it hits close to ours, you know, because there's been a lot of tragedy in the last few years, and you know, that serves as a somber reminder, you know. So, man, pray for that boy as he sings Wednesday.
It's going to be one of those moments, though. He's so eloquent with his words.
Oh, man.
And his music heals so many people that there's no other person that I would rather have in that place.
There's nobody better for that. Nobody.
Would you have known him in Paducah growing up before Mary Beth met him, just as that kid with a guitar?
They met at Anderson College. He had a mailbox, same last name. Their hands went in one day.
Are you serious?
It was magic. They met. And so she brought him home for Thanksgiving. And I told him, I said, because he's like, man, I don't know if I can eat all this. And he had, my mom and dad had to get used to the long hair and all that stuff, you know, because he was rocking the mullet back then. And when they brought him home, I said, man, if you want to eat more, you got to eat celery. He said, I hate celery. I said, no, it's like negative calories. The more you eat, the more celery you eat, the more turkey you can eat. And so he hasn't let me forget that to this day. He says, I hate celery. I'm not going to eat celery at all. So, but that's when I met him, way back when. Way back.
Are you still a swim coach?
Still swim coach, do all kinds of stuff.
Brentwood Academy?
At Brentwood Academy. Okay. They think I'm teaching class right now. So.
Today we watch a movie, kids. I'll be back in a few.
Yeah.
That's great.
I've still got 2 girls there. One's getting ready to graduate. One's in the 8th grade. So.
Oh, wow.
And you have 8 children between your biological children and 4 adopted children, which is also a part of Mary Beth and Stephen's story.
That's right. And you know, our oldest adopted daughter will be graduating from Vanderbilt in May. And she's here because Mary Beth said, look, I'll write you a check. You know, so we went and got her, and next thing you know, 4 years later, we're adopting another, and we're saying, we're done. Another 4 or 5 years after that, no, we can't go do it again. We go do it again, and then finally, I think in 2010, we went and got our current 14-year-old. And
all from China?
All from China. The last 2 have serious medical issues, and so we've had to navigate through that, and but they're thriving. They're doing wonderful right now.
That's so great. And I love everything that's happening with all of the charities over there. And Show Hope is one of my favorites. Whenever they do anything for Show Hope, I'm right there for it.
Oh, man. And my youngest biological daughter just went to work for Show Hope.
Oh, really?
So, yeah,
that's so great.
Yeah.
Well, new music. You've been back in the studio. Back Runnin' is the name of the new album. And you can pre-order. You can go online at 4runner-music.com on the web. That's the correct website, right?
That is correct, sir.
4runner-music.com. Set up this first single that we're going to play called Forest County Line.
Well, all of us are from small towns. And one thing you do in a small town is you think, what's going on outside of the the city limits of this small town. I'd kind of like to get out.
So yeah, let's find out about everybody's small town, hometown.
Pickett, Arkansas, Paragould, Arkansas.
Danville, Virginia.
Danville.
Yep, Paragould, Arkansas. That's it.
And I grew up in Springfield, Ohio.
You imagine what's beyond you in that little town, and busting out and seeing the world, seeing what God created. That's the dream of so many people in a small town. What happened actually is when you leave, you realize how important that small town was. And this song is about looking beyond the city limit sign.
I find it interesting, and I'm sure, except for the Ohio connection there in the South, and I don't know if they do this in Ohio or not, but you would ask people, particularly my parents' generation and before, grandparents, great-grandparents, where they were from, and they would tell you the county they were from, as if you were supposed to know where that was.
Clay County.
Yeah.
Clay County, Arkansas.
Is that the way it was where you grew up?
Absolutely, absolutely. And actually, they were very tribal. Your county, it was like a team. Your county was like your team,
Forest County Line, 4Runner, all over the world on WSM Radio and Circle Television.
This little town watches the green grass grow slow and easy. That's the plan.
Back all over the world on WSM Radio and Circle Television. 4Runner in studio this morning with new music. Craig Morris, Sam Morris, Lee Hilliard, Jim Chapman. The new album, Back Runnin'. It's out now, wherever you buy, download, or stream your favorite music.
You know what? We got to go back and tell this story. Lee, what were you saying? What was your first job?
Well, earlier, in this interview this morning, we were talking about the good old days, the good times.
Yeah.
And, when Bill moved here, it was a lot of magic floating around. And when I moved here, it was straight out of high school. And it was 1974, and that's when they built I still call it the new Opry. I'm sure y'all do too.
Oh, we do. Yeah.
Right out here on the grounds where we are. And the first job that I had in Nashville was selling Goo clusters and Cokes and hot dogs over there by the stand, right by the stage. And so on my breaks, I would just sneak through the back door, go backstage, and I can remember just vividly, like it was yesterday, hanging out with Minnie Pearl and Roy Acuff and everybody that was there in the day. And, man, I would go back there and just have a blast with those guys. Ironically enough, I sang with my brother in a group called Higher Ground. 3 months after I got the job, Bill, do you remember the Sunday night Opry? Pastor Snow, Jimmy Snow.
Jimmy Snow, yes.
They would bring out a huge gospel choir, and it was the Gospel Opry. I was singing with my brother at that time, and I walked straight center stage, sat down at the piano, and sang with my brother, his group. It's a trio, Higher Ground.
So how old are you at this point?
18.
Okay.
The kids over there working with me at the stand, I never told them a word. I did not tell them a peep. I just quit the job. And so they're looking at me. How did he do that? Oh, gosh.
He's been giving people free Cokes and free Goo clusters.
Salesman of the month. That's
That's
what
it.
you get.
Get to go play.
Good days. That started it all, man.
Oh, just saying the name Jimmy Snow, the son of Hank and Min.
Exactly.
Snow, Mrs. Hank Snow, as we used to refer to her.
Well, that Gospel Opry was a big deal.
Well, he was responsible indirectly. You remember the story of Chris Christopherson and Why Me, Lord, as he went with Connie Smith to hear Jimmy Snow speak and preach in Cookeville.
Oh.
And the Holy Spirit moved.
Yeah.
And on the way back, he starts calculating what would become Why Me, Lord.
Well, I tell you what, the Spirit would move in that Opry house, too. I mean, all of a sudden. And they waited till the second Opry thing was over to begin. So it was a late night. I think we started at 11 o'clock. But from that point on, it was church. Yeah, it was good stuff.
Well, Craig, give us the history of you guys getting together originally, the original incarnation of the group, and how you got back together after all these years, back running.
I had just finished working at Nashville now as one of the harmony singers on the staff. Met my wife there. That's how we got Sam. And Nashville Now went off the air in '93, and I was at the Bluebird Cab. I'm a songwriter. I came to town to write songs, and Lee Hilliard was at the Bluebird the night that I was doing something there. And he walked up. We'd been friends because we'd met on the road. We all worked for different artists at that time. And he said, hey, me and some guys are talking about maybe getting a quartet together. You interested in coming, maybe singing lead? And I said, yeah, because we got one in diapers and one on the way. He was the one on the way at that time. And we got together at our house out in Brentwood around the piano and decided to sing together to see what we sounded like. And we thought it was pretty special. And we started recording songs. House at the End of the Road was the first song we cut together. And actually on the record, we've pulled the original demo that got us our record deal and embellished it and remastered it. And it's on there. And that got Harold Shedd's attention. That got Larry Shell, Buddy. Everybody just went on that song. They went, we need that to do that. And they signed us. We recorded. Things happened real fast. We couldn't have had a better launch because we got to do all these cool things. Narvel Blackstock was our manager, so we got plugged into big stuff. Tim McGraw Tour, Kenny Rogers Tour, Faith Hill, everybody. We got to do everything. The Tonight Show, we were nominated by the ACM for Top Duo Group. We had a lot of things going on, and then about a year later, the label shut down. And we were without a deal, and all of a sudden, it was busy, 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 and then all of a sudden it just stopped. He's got kids. I've got kids, one there. And we had to get back to making a living and providing for our families. And actually, as it turned out, it was kind of a reverse blessing to us because we got to be dads. And full-time, hands-on dads.
Yeah.
I'd go to school and sing for the elementary kids in Savannah's class or Sam's class.
So who, in the music business during this time, who are you working with?
At that time?
Individually, yeah.
Well, I spent a lot of time out at the Opry just filling in because Carol Lee had called me a lot back then, and then Rod remembered me, and then my brother-in-law would ask me to come sing. And I was a gospel songwriter back then. I wrote tons of gospel music back then, and but then I was also originally a basketball coach. So now that I'm here, I went back into swim coaching and doing what I love. I teach art, so I'm a professional artist. I do that too, and all of that just culminated in me getting back into education and taking care of the kids that way. But all the same time, going downtown singing on this record, singing on Kenny's records, singing on a lot of stuff. So I've just been in while not being in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I've been in. So.
Well, you never get out of it.
No, you never do.
Like I said at the top, right?
That's right. That's right.
And for us, that was the case,
Yeah.
Craig and I, for a long time, longer for me, worked with Loretta Lynn.
I was going to bring that up.
Everywhere we go, man, people recognize us from that. And
I did about 5 years with Loretta with a group called the Chapman Brothers before these guys stepped in and took over the last 20 years, So that was kind of cool.
How about that?
Yeah, I used to read her children's books on the bus. She'd say, "Jimmy, come over here and read a book to me." Driving down the road.
It's a low voice.
Bill, one of these days we need to set aside a day, maybe a week, just to tell road stories. I got enough Loretta Lynn stories to keep everybody entertained.
Maybe not on the air.
Some we can tell, some we really shouldn't.
Yeah.
4Runner. That's Craig Morris, Sam Morris, Lee Hilliard, Jim Chapman. New music from an album called Back Runnin', which is, again, available wherever you buy, download, or stream your favorite music right now. You're going to set up Gritted Teeth a cappella, and then we're going to play the whole thing through?
That would be great.
All
Quickly,
right.
I wrote this for my mom when she had cancer before we lost her. She came from hard stuff, a hard childhood, difficult childhood. And this song speaks to that, but more than anything right now, it speaks to what's going on in the world. There's confusion, there's distrust, there's confrontation, there's division and stuff like that. And this talks about that one word above all those words called hope. And gritting your teeth and pushing through everything and getting on the other side of it. Right there, 1, 2. Yeah. Hold your head high when you're feeling low. Smile through gritted teeth. Life will ebb, life will flow. Smile through gritted teeth, empty nights, cold and long. Smile through gritted teeth, it's always darkest for the dawn. Smile through gritted teeth, smile through gritted teeth. Smile through gritted teeth, smile through gritted teeth. 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 Smile through gritted teeth.
Thanks for listening to the Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And please leave us a 5-star review. This podcast was produced through the facilities of WSM Radio in Nashville, Tennessee. The hosts of Coffee, Country, and Cody are Bill Cody, Charlie Matos, and Kelly Sutton. Producer Eric Markham. WSM General Manager and Director of Content and Programming, J. Patrick Tittle. Copyright 2023. Opry Entertainment Group Holdings, LLC.